Welcome to the division draw for the 40th AMTA National Championship. My name is Diane Michalak, and I am your National Tabulation Director. Before we start the draw, I have a couple of announcements. First, there were some additional case updates that were just posted with a couple of typo corrections that you should go ahead and download. Additionally, you need to fill out and submit your CIC designee form, which can be found on the AMTA website. If you go to Resources, click on Rules and Forms, scroll down to the CIC section, and click on the 2025 NCT CIC Procedures link. The last paragraph of page 2 of that PDF, you will find a link to the designee form. Also, after the draw, I will send invitations for your division and tournament manager. Please have your official contact accept that invitation. For those of you not familiar with the draw, let me explain how this will work. If you have the earned bid list pulled up on the AMTA website, that can be helpful to follow along. This year, because the host bid is being used, we have 50 teams in total. So the first thing we will do is flip a coin, which will decide which division the bottom two TPR teams will go into. The remaining teams are ranked 1 through 48. We will divide the teams into groups of 4. So the first group will be 1 through 4, then 5 through 8, 9 through 12, and so on. Among those groups, we will randomly draw 2 teams into one division and 2 teams into the other division. So for example, the first team drawn would go into Division 1, the second team to Division 2, the third to Division 1, and the fourth to Division 2. The only caveat is that if a school has 2 teams at the national championship, they cannot be placed in the same division. So we will deal with that as it arises. This year, the divisions will be named Carl B. Stokes Division and the Flora Mather Division. Carl B. Stokes became the first African-American mayor of a major U.S. city when he was elected mayor of Cleveland in November 1967. He later became a news anchorman, judge, and a U.S. ambassador. During his 2 terms as mayor, Stokes opened city hall jobs to Blacks and women and introduced a number of urban revitalization programs. Choosing not to run for a 3rd term in 1971, Stokes lectured around the country, then in 1972 became the first Black anchorman in New York City when he took a job with television station WNBC. He returned to Cleveland in 1980 and began serving as general legal counsel for the United Auto Workers Union. From 1983 to 1994, he served as a municipal judge in Cleveland. President Clinton then appointed him U.S. ambassador to the Republic of Seychelles. Flora Mather was a philanthropist dedicated to Cleveland religious, educational, and social reform activities. In 1896, Flora Mather founded Goodrich House in honor of her childhood pastor, Reverend William H. Goodrich, also supporting its outgrowth activities, including the Legal Aid Society and the Consumers League of Ohio. Mrs. Mather supported many activities of Western Reserve University, including the Advisory Council, College for Women, renamed Mather College in her honor in 1931, and Adelbert College. In 1892, she constructed Guilford Cottage, later Guilford House, a dormitory on campus named in honor of her former teacher, Linda T. Guilford. She gave funds in 1902 to construct Hayden Hall in honor of Dr. Hiram C. Hayden of Old Stone Church, to which Mrs. Mather belonged for her entire lifetime. So to begin the draw, the first thing we are going to do is flip a coin to determine which division the bottom 2 teams will go into. Those are 1010 Miami B and 1467 UMass Lowell. Heads will be the Stokes division. Tails will be the Mathers division. And it is tails. So Miami B and UMass Lowell will go into the Mather division. Next, we will flip a coin to determine which team the first team of the 48 will go into. And it is heads. So we're going to shuffle the cards. The first team drawn will go into the Carl B. Stokes division, And that team is Team 1281, Harvard A. Our next team will go into the Mather division, and that is Team 1543, Chicago. Next up, in the Stokes division, Team 1153, Virginia, which means that Team 1706, UCLA, will join the Mather division. Our next group is group 5 through 8. Shuffle these up. Our first team will go into the Stokes division, and that is Team 1485, Yale. Next up in the Mather division, Team 1229, Texas. In the Stokes division, Team 1019, Rhodes. So that leaves 1739, Emory A, in the Mather division. Next up, group 9 through 12. First up in the Stokes division, 1117, Boston University. Next up in the Mather division, 1175, Georgia A. Team 1110, Georgia Tech, to the Stokes division, which leaves Team 1573, Ohio State University, in the Mather division. Next up is our group 13 through 16. Right, first up in the Stokes division, Team 1452, Princeton. And in the Mather division, 1747, NYU. In the Stokes division, 1592, Fordham Lincoln Center. And Team 1372, Northwestern A, in the Mather division. Next up is groups 17 through 20. First up in the Stokes division, Team 1190, Stanford. In the Mather division, 1474, Oregon. Team 1023, Wisconsin, in the Stokes division, and Team 1064, Duke, in the Mather division. Group 6 is teams 21 through 24 on the TPR list. First up, Team 1412, Illinois, to the Stokes division. Team 1182, UMBC, to the Mather division. Team 1104 to the Stokes division, and Team 1444 to the Mather division. Next up are 25 through 28. Team 1676, South Carolina, to the Stokes division. Team 1512, Cal Poly San Luis Obispo to the Mather Division. Team 1043, Case Western to the Stokes Division, which leaves 1433, Georgia State in the Mather Division. Next up is Group 8, 29 through 32, our last group that doesn't contain a B team yet. First up in the Stokes Division, Team 1004, American University. And in the Mather Division, Team 1547, Maryland. In the Stokes Division, Team 1298, Cornell. And in the Mather Division, Team 1578, Arizona State A. All right, so now we have our first B group team. So our first B group team is Team 1373 Northwestern. Since Northwestern A is in the Mather group, Northwestern B will have to go to Stokes. And we will shuffle these up. And the first card drawn will go to Stokes, and the remaining two cards will go to Mather. So the first card drawn here is 1095, Haverford College to Stokes, which leaves Rutgers 1290 and 1121 Toronto to the Mather Division. Now we have Group 10, which has three predetermined teams. Arizona State B, 1579, has to go to Stokes because Arizona State A is in Mather. Emory B, 1740, needs to go to Stokes because Emory A is in Mather. And Miami A has to go to Stokes because Miami B is in Mather. And this is where I get myself messed up. I do believe now that Team 1455 needs to go to Mather. Amelia, help me out now. Am I off?
I think that is correct.
What I'm trying to figure out is are my groups even now?
We are at 21 and 21, so the groups are perfectly even. Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay. So we're going to stay even because this next group has two B teams. Georgia B, 1176, which has to go to Stokes because A is in Mather. And 1282 Harvard B, which has to go to Mather because A is in Stokes, which leaves us two cards that we're going to shuffle, the first of which will go into Stokes. And that is 1305 University of California, San Diego into the Stokes Division, leaving Team 1179 Kansas to the Mather Division. So this last group is a little tricky because there is an A and a B team in this last group. So if I pull one of them randomly, I will have to pull the other one out to the opposite division. So survey says first, 1013 Loyola A to the Stokes Division. So I will pull out Loyola B, which needs to go to the Mather Division. Shuffling our final two cards. Stetson, 1390 to the Stokes Division.
Diane, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
We have 24 teams already in the Stokes Division. So
we should end up with
24 in Stokes and 26 in Mather.
Right.
So both of the final cards have to go to Mather, neither to Stokes.
Okay. That's what I was trying to figure out. All right. So Stetson and Northwood are both going to Mather. I think it's because of the second coin flip. All right. So we got it all settled?
Yes, there are 24 teams in Stokes and 26 teams in Mather.
Right. Fantastic. So my final announcement will be that the AMTA reps for the Stokes division are Brandon Harper and yours truly, Diane Michalak. And our CIC representative is Amelia Yomalakis. And the Mather representatives are Jacinth Sohi and Jonathan Woodward. And the CIC rep, the Honorable Dan Hoy. Thanks for joining us here on the 40th AMTA National Championship draw. And good luck to everybody and happy scrimmage hunting.